Markets off highs after a positive opening. Sensex trading below the 71,000 mark and Nifty trades around 21,200. IIFL Finance witnessed a block deal of 2.21 crore shares. This resulted in the stock being down almost 5% on BSE. And LIC shares hit 52-week high on 10-year exemption from public float rule. Economic Department cites the public interest for its decision to grant the exemption. COVID numbers continue to surge in the country. 328 cases active. In fact, these cases have been reported in the last 24 hours. And a cold wave wraps northwest India with a dense wave of fog visible across several cities. Hello and welcome. You're watching Large Trades, a show where we talk about bulk deals and block deals and large trades which have happened during the day and are making news. I am Hiral Dadia. Let's quickly take a look at how markets are panning at this hour. If you see in terms of Nifty as well, clearly we have come back into the negative right now as we speak. Overall, if you go to see, the stock is trading below the 21,300 mark. We're absolutely at 21,250. We've hit a low of around 21,232 in trade. Names like Wipro, Maruti, Britannia, Tata Motors and the Bharti Airtel are holding on to gains, whereas on the losing end, you have names like Grasim, Bajaj Finance, ICICI Bank, SBI Life, as well as SBI. So these are under pressure. Overall, it's Bank Nifty that is taking deeper cuts as we speak. In fact, if you see the Bank Nifty intraday chart right now, 9 declines versus 3 advances, and you have a 350 points cut coming in terms of Bank Nifty as well. So that's where the pressure is building up. With that, let's quickly pull up, PSU Bank Index as well and see what's happening with regards to the PSU Bank Index. There you go. That's also taken the beating. Cuts of almost around 0.7 to 0.8% coming in there. Let's pull up broader markets because a lot of action. There was clear outperformance coming in from the broader markets in the first half of the trading session, but you are seeing profit booking on the mid-cap 150 as well as a similar trend with regards to the small-cap 250 as well, which are now seeing gains of nearly 0.5%, or up little over 1% in trade. A lot of stock-specific action is what we are going to focus on as well in today's session. You have names like IIFL, which is in focus, LIC, which continues to remain in focus in today's session. AMI Organics is another one on the back of the block. JB Chemicals is an interesting name to look at as well in today's session. Sansera Engineering, ITI, Castrol India. These are a few of the names that we will be touching base on over the next 20 to 25 minutes of trade. But let's first quickly move focus to, Asian Paints. Let's pull up that counter on the screens and see what's happening with Asian Paints in trade right now, because paint companies have been in focus as well. If you see in terms of Asian Paints, Berger Paints, all of these counters have been in the positive as we speak. There you go. Berger as well seeing gains of almost 1.2 to 1.3% in session today. Kansai Nerolac, let's pull up that one on the screens and see what's happening with the Kansai Nerolac in today's session. That's the only one from the paint companies which has been trading under pressure. Let's pull up the PSU banks and see what's happening. Today we did an interesting piece with regards to what's happening with the PSU banking space. There you go. SBI down almost 1% in trade. But apart from an SBI, you have other names like IOB, CBI, all of them trading under pressure. Let's move focus to AMI Organics. Now, clearly, 3 investors, which is the ex-promoters, have gone ahead and sold a combined 12% stake in the company through an open market transaction. Varsha is there to tell us more as to what would this stake sale mean, and additionally, how much entry has actually opened up for a lot of new investors to come in. Varsha, over to you.
Good afternoon, Hiral. So if you see, there was this large trade yesterday where 12% equity change hands, wherein ex-promoters offloaded shares of worth 474 crore. Now, if you see, shares were sold at 1,030 per piece. Now, who were the sellers? So there's a family called Chovatia family who holds, as of September 23, their stake was almost 17%. Now, they have actually actually sold their shares. So if you see, Girish Kumar Chovatia has exited the AMI Organics, and followed by Kiran Ben Chovatia and Dhwani Chovatia. So currently, post this transaction, the Chovatia family's stake would be almost 5% in the company. And let's see who are the buyers of this transaction. So fresh entry into AMI Organics has been done by Morgan Stanley, followed by BofA Securities, and you have got ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund, then Value Quest, and Goldman Sachs. Also, one interesting thing to note, Malabar India Fund has actually increased its stakes by 1.31% into this company.
Right. Thanks, Varsha, for getting us the details. So this is going to be interesting. But if you could help us understand more from a fundamental perspective for AMI Organics, what is in store if you have to look at FY25 now? Because this year has been a downer for specialty chemical companies. What would you be watching out for?
So first, let's look at what are the growth triggers for the company. So company has signed agreement with Fermion for 2 advanced pharmaceutical intermediates. Now company already has a deal for other 2 products with Fermion. So total products with Fermion would be 4, and there will be significant revenue contribution from these drugs in FY25. Also, if you see 4 products together would form a multi-million and multi-year deal. Then the company is also entering into electrolyte business, wherein it has signed MOU with global manufacturer for supplies for the same, and also companies to set up manufacturing facility in Gujarat, for which it has signed MOU with government of Gujarat for investment of rupees 300 crores. Interestingly, company is also entering into semiconductor business through acquisition of Baba Chemicals, where Baba Chemicals has a strong presence in photo-resistant chemicals. Also, if you see here guidance for FY24, so company has lowered its guidance from 22 to 25% to 18 to 22% on the back of China dumping and what all we are seeing in the specialty chemical. So FY24 may be muted for this company, but there will be significant growth in FY25 going forward.
Right. Thanks for getting us the details overall, because this is going to be interesting to watch out for. But let's just pull up our Asian Paints on the screens once again. There is news with regards to where a fire has actually happened at one of their plants in Ankleshwar. No major reaction coming in terms of the stock, but overall what they've said is that it was an under construction plant in Ankleshwar, and on the 21st of December, that's yesterday, a fire incident has taken place. Though the fire has been brought under control and there has been no material or financial impact on the operations. That's what we're picking up so far with regards to where Asian Paints is concerned, and that's one of the reasons why we are not seeing any major reaction in terms of the stock price as well, up around 1.3% as we speak. But let's quickly pull on and move across to a JB Chemicals and Pharmaceuticals. That stock is in focus, up nearly 6%. In fact, there have been some large deals that have happened on the counter. They've also entered in terms of 2 deals with Novartis. Varsha joins in. The volumes are pretty strong. Varsha, what are you picking up with regards to JB Chemicals? What's making investors really happy with this one?
So, Hiral, stock is up over 6%. Now, also, if you see volumes are trading at over 7x, it's 30-day moving average. Now, this is on the back of 2 deals with Novartis. Now, there has been positive development regarding the same. Also, there's a con call today at 2:30 wherein a company will be speaking about a lot of things about this deal, how are they gaining and all. So investors are actually looking forward for this con call. And if you see, let's look at the deal. So they've entered 2 deals with Novartis. Now this is for the portfolio of select ophthalmology brands. Now they've got trademark licensing agreement plus promotion and distribution agreement. Now if you see, trademark deal is worth 964 crores, which is to be effective from Jan 2027, and promotion and distribution deal is worth rupees 125 crore for 3 years starting December 2023. Also, this deal will be funded through internal accruals, and with this they're going to rank in top 4 players in ophthalmology, and September 2023 sales as per IQVIA is almost 207 crore. Now ophthalmology, if you see, this is one of the fastest growing therapies, and the 3-year CAGR is of 15% versus India pharma market growth. If you see, it's almost 9%, and 8 out of 10 molecules in this therapy is growing between 10 to 20%. Also, major players have registered almost 10% value growth, and with this, the operating margins for the company will be quite high as compared to the normal margins of JB Chemicals.
Right. Thank you, Varsha, for getting us the details. So, the meeting today with investors and analysts is going to be absolutely crucial, and probably investors are anticipating some positive news, and that's one of the reasons why you're seeing, some moves that are coming in with regards to where JB Chemicals is concerned. A good portfolio that could be in the offing. Let's just quickly pull up a long-term chart as well for JB Chemicals and see what the stock has done so far. If you have a 3-month and a YTD, 12 months, 58 to 59% is the kind of return. So strong moves that have actually started coming in only from the month of June, July. There have been minor dips in between, but apparently investors are using that opportunity with buy on dips as a strategy as well with the JB Chemicals. But moving on, IIFL Finance has been in the news over the last couple of trading sessions with all the issues surrounding the AIFs and the RBI action around it. Now, the stock has stumbled in trade after a block deal, after a large deal that happened on this counter worth 2.21 crore shares. Pragati Oberoi, my colleague who joins us with more details. Pragati, if you could help us understand who the buyers and sellers are to the deal and what's in store from a fundamental perspective for IIFL Finance.
Right, Hiral, you're absolutely right that this morning saw a bulk deal in IIFL Finance, and the deal was worth nearly 1,400 crore rupees. Now, as based on the information we gathered from our sources, we know that Fairfax has sold over 5% stake in the company, and the interesting bit is that till 30th September, actually, Fairfax was holding 20.9% stake in IIFL Finance. But this is not the first time that it has indulged itself in this sale. Before this as well, it sold about 1.6% in the company to reach this level of 20.9%, because prior to this, as of 30th March, Fairfax held 22.5%. Now, as you rightly mentioned, the stock has been volatile a little bit during the day. We saw different levels, and it was down about 3%, and it was also down about 5%. We also saw that the volumes in terms of trade were 30.8 times higher its 30-day average. So that's significantly high indeed. As far as this momentum is concerned, now our best understanding goes that yesterday IIFL Finance announced or put up an exchange filing detailing the exposure to its AIF investments as well. So that is what we have as of now. That could be a major reason.
Right. Thanks, Pragati, for getting us the details. So this is going to be an interesting one to watch out for going ahead as well, because a lot of action that they will have to take with regards to where the AIF portfolio goes. And as Pragati was mentioning, from a business perspective, clearly, a good growth is what we've seen in terms of profitability, 27%. NI is up around 43% in the first half of FY24. And the total income has seen a growth of around 28%. So, interesting ones coming in terms of where IIFL Finance is concerned. But let's quickly slip into a short break. Lots more lined up on the other side. Please stay tuned to NDTV Profit. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Large Trades. Now, another stock that we're focusing on in today's session is Sansera Engineering, which did see a large trade, 11 lakh shares or 2% equity changed hands. Anushi standing by with what, what she's picking up on this one. The stock is up nearly 1%. Anushi, what do you have for us with regards to Sansera?
Right, so where we did see the stock gaining around 1% up today, but if you look at the overall day's performance, it was up about 6% high. Now, along with this, the company's volumes were also buzzing at about 3 times its 30-day average. While we don't have the buyers and sellers details currently, let's just look at the key shareholders of the business, wherein the promoter group that holds about 35% stake and client EB holds about 9.4% stake. Along with this, we have domestic DIIs, which in the likes of Axis Mutual Fund and Kotak Small Cap Fund holding about 6% stake. Now, to analyze what kind of upside we can look for, 7 analysts have a buy call rating on this one and see an 16.7% of upside. Along with the latest being the Antique Broking, which has initiated a buy call on Sansera at a target price of rupees 1,155. So what they are basically ensuring in the report is that they see a strong order book visibility in the near term, along with a 19% revenue CAGR growth driven by their non-auto and tech agnostic segments. So also with this, they also expect some meaningful EBITDA margin improvement as well. So the stock was in focus with the trade today.
Right. Thanks, Anushi, for getting us the details. So large trade coming in with regards to where ITI goes. What's interesting is the kind of moves that we are seeing on this counter. Let's just pull up a 5-day chart of ITI. Today, the stock is up around 3.5 to 4% in trade. But if you see the 5-day moves, the spike it saw in between and then that cool off that has happened. But even a long-term chart of an ITI will actually tell you with what's in store here. Because if you see in the last 1 month, the stock has seen returns of nearly around 10 to 11%. YTD, it's almost 3 times as the kind of returns that we've seen in terms of where ITI goes. And similarly, the up move is very strong from a 1-year perspective as well. So good moves that are happening with regards to where ITI is concerned. But moving on from, this is with regards to where Sansera has gone, but I'm talking about ITI, where Himansh is expected to join us to get us more. Himansh, strong volumes with regards to ITI. The moves are absolutely strong on this one. What do you have for us?
Hey, you're absolutely right, Hiral. I mean, the thing that stands out with ITI the most is that it's nearly a 3-bagger this year alone, and the stock saw gains of as much as 7% intraday today after you had about close to 90,000 shares that changed hands. Now, the stock is up on high volumes largely, and it has been showing this sort of performance throughout this year. And this is very interesting to see because since Q1 of FY23, the company has been posting losses. So the direction and the up move that you're seeing on these counters is really on part of the volumes really. And then you also have the stock like Castrol India, where the stock gained over 10% on higher volumes today, and volumes were 14 times their 30-day averages today. You had about 1 lakh shares traded in multiple tranches, which is about 0.02% equity stake overall, and the shares were traded at a price range of 161.8 to 162.4 a piece. Now, Castrol India has also hit its 52-week high today. Much like the other oil and gas counters, the pack as a whole is also in the green, trading in the green today. The counter is only second to GAIL India, which is again one of the top gainers on the oil and gas index.
Right, so Castrol as well as ITI, both of these is what we're looking at. In fact, Castrol, if you see the journey of this company, since the time they ventured into laptop manufacturing, and that coupled with the overall positive market sentiment has actually fueled this impressive rally with regards to where ITI goes. And that's what the long-term charts are also indicating. Overall, it's an astounding rally, and clearly, and this is what is probably garnering the investors' interest, because as Himanshu was also mentioning, the company has been posting losses, but probably the newer segment that they are looking at as well. Now, whether that is going to be one of the driving forces from here on, and will you see a fundamental shift that could happen from a business perspective, is what we need to wait and watch as well. Because clearly the company had successfully developed branded laptops and micro PCs under the name Smash, and this was adhering to international standards. And this clearly tells you that this is garnering the attention of investors as well. So that's with regards to where ITI goes. And with regards to Castrol India as well, that stock has been in the making in the last couple of trading sessions, and from a technical perspective as well, a lot of analysts that are positive with regards to where Castrol goes, and that is something that could continue. But moving on, LIC. Now the government has set a deadline of May 2032 to raise public shareholding in the company. Currently, the shareholding stands at 3.5%, which needs to be raised to 25%. In such a scenario, what can the government do to pare its stake in the life insurer? We have Vishwanath Nair joining us with more details. Vishy, what do you have for us? Because with this, a lot of things change.
As we know, the government has given time till May 2032 for LIC to reduce the promoter shareholding stake so that it could meet the minimum public shareholding guidelines that SEBI has. Now, remember that this was to be achieved by 2024. So now this extension comes in, which gives the company as well as the government more time to achieve this. Essentially, the government has to offload about 21.5% stake, depending on the current shareholding structure. What SEBI allows companies like this to do is you could go through an OFS route, you could go for QIPs, ETFs as well as employee shares to reduce the stake. Typically, companies go with one of these multiple means available. Most people have not done a mix of various routes to reduce promoter shareholding and increase public shareholding. In the LIC case specifically, the government is likely to go for the OFS route. But if they do that, then there's a problem, because it's 21.5% and over a 10-year period, that would be roughly about 2% every year. LIC's current market cap is in excess of 5 lakh crore. So that would mean that over 1 lakh crore rupees worth of shares will be floating around in the market if the government does go for OFS, which will of course end up depressing value. The current free float is quite thin. The share price, LIC, while it has gone up over the last few months, we are still far behind the IPO price of about 949 rupees per share. So that's going to be an issue that the government will have to deal with and will have to consider while they go ahead with this kind of a share sale. Now, remember that the government itself does have the power to change the timeline as much as it wants to, because currently in a public sector entity, the government can decide whether it wants to achieve the minimum public shareholding or not. That's a call that the government can take, and by the end of this 2032 period, it could very well be that the government takes more time to achieve the MPS requirements.
Right, so the timeline that the government will take to achieve the MPS target is going to be interesting to watch out for. And LIC, if you go to see, is still almost 15 to 16% away from its issue price, and that probably could be concerning. But what's important to know over here is that the valuations are absolutely cheap as compared to the private players. But you have a LIC which is losing market share to the private players as well. So the entire gamut is the equation is very different that we are looking at. But moving on to the hospitality sector, in a recent conversation today, I spoke to Mahindra Holidays MD and CEO Kavinder Singh, who's actually talking about the company's capex plans going ahead. Let's listen into that conversation.
The capital expenditure plans are already in place. We have about 835 crores of capex in play to deliver 690 rooms in the next 1 to 2 years. If I were to look at the movement forward, we are aiming to take this 835 crore number to about approximately 2,000 crore as we move into the next year. Our aim would be to very, very quickly step up our run rate of room additions, which is roughly 375 to 400. Next year, you will see much higher run rate than this number. And as far as capital expenditure plans are concerned, I already outlined that we have, at this moment of time, 2 greenfield projects that are underway. One in Ratnagiri, another is in Thiok. One is in Maharashtra, and other one is in Himachal. and we have an expansion project going on in Himachal, and then we have a few other projects which are going to be lined up for breaking the ground soon.
So that's Kavinder Singh talking about the expansion plans, and it is holiday and festive season. So wishing all our viewers as well a Merry Christmas in advance before we head into the long weekend. But completely out of time. That's all that we have on this edition of Large Trades. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned to NDTV Profit.